So today we're going to talk about spheres. This is 12.6 if you are wanting to go into the online book. So we're going to be finding the volume and the surface area of spheres in this unit. And I know we haven't done any surface area up to this point, but we are going to be looking at it with spheres today. So the great circle. It's a circle on the surface of a sphere that lies in a plane passing through the sphere's center. So always think of Earth, and if we're thinking about Earth, then the equator would be kind of a good example because it passes through the center. And so that's the great circle. Whenever anything refers to the great circle, that is what that circle is. So below is our volume of a sphere, and it is 4/3 pi r cubed. So we do have to cube the radius, take it times pi, and then take it times 4 and divide it by 3. So we want to, again, making sure we're paying attention to radius only being halfway, so from the center to the outside. So for this one, from the center to the outside, our radius is going to be 12. Okay, so formula 4/3 pi, and then our radius cubed, and in this case, again, our radius is 12. So let's go ahead and type that into our calculator. Take 12, and then you may want to, if you don't have a caret button, an upside down V, you may have an X to the Y button or something to that effect that's going to get you that higher power that you can type in. So 12 to the third, enter, times pi, enter, times 4, enter, divided by 3. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So here's my calculator, 12, and then I do have a caret button, to the third, enter, times, and then I have to hit second, and then my caret button for my pi, enter, times 4, enter, divided by 3, enter. You can take and multiply it by 4/3, making sure that 4/3 is in parentheses. That works too, but you can also multiply it by 4 and divide it by 3, and that is equivalent as well. So there's our answer, 7,238.2. So we're going to go ahead and write that. So it equals approximately 7,238.2 inches cubed. So on our next one, this time it's a hemisphere, and a hemisphere is half. So we're going to actually do half of our 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so we're going to find 4/3 pi r cubed, and then we're going to do a half of that. So in this case, our radius is 15. So again, typing that straight into your calculator, just like we practiced. So we've got 15 cubed times pi. And I like to kind of do everything just in one step, or each step separately, times, and then here's where you can take and just do parentheses, divided by 4/3 all in parentheses, as opposed to times 4 and then divided by 3. It's up to you. Now we want to take a half of this, so divided by 2. All right, so there it is. We have our 7,068.6. 7,068.6, and this is meters cubed. Okay. All right, so moving along, we're going to work backwards now, where we are given the volume. So volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed, and we're going to plug in the volume, and now we're going to find the radius. So 65.45. So how do we could get rid of our pi first if you want to do that. Divide by pi. Okay, so now we're going to wind up with, let's go ahead and take 65.45 divided by pi, and that's going to give you 20.83. Right, so we're at 20.83 equals 4/3 radius cubed. So now, how do we undo a fraction? We don't divide by a fraction, we multiply by its reciprocal. Remember that? So multiply by its reciprocal, and that is going to cancel that fraction out. So we're going to take that times 3/4, and we're at 15.625. I'm just going to keep it going in my calculator. 15.625 equals the radius cubed. Now, how do we undo something that's cubed? Well, when something is square, we do the square root. So when something is cubed, we do what's called the cube root. And I'll show you how to find that, at least on my calculator. So when we do the cube root, here's how we do that. So in mine, it's math, and then it's number 4, and there's the little 3, and then the radical symbol. So that's the cube root. So 15.625 typed in there. So 2.5 is our radius. So we do have to figure out where that cube root button is on your calculator, so make sure to take a look for that. So radius is 2.5 centimeters. All right, we're going to now look at the surface area. Surface area, its formula, again, this is the outside part, not filling it up anymore, but the outside part. So if we were to make a baseball and we needed the material to cover it, it's the surface area, it's the outside to wrap around it, okay? So this formula is 4 times pi r squared. So it's similar, but a little bit different. So we need to make sure that we know what it's asking for and we're using the right formula. So 4 times pi r squared. Notice our radius is squared this time because we're using surface area, not volume. So this is a diameter, and so if it's a diameter, we know we need to cut that in half. So our radius is 8.5. So we're going to plug that into radius here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and type that into our calculator. Oops, kind of got rid of it there. So we want to make sure we type in the 8.5 squared and then take it times the 4 pi. Okay, so we're going to see what that gets us. So 8.5 squared gives us 72.25. Take it times 4, so 289 pi, or 289 times pi to get our approximate decimal. So 907.9. 907.9 inches squared, since we are back to surface area. All right, so looking down here, our next one, we're given the area of our great circle. So we can use that to find our radius. So we actually have to work backwards and take that 49 pi equal to pi r squared and divide by pi. And then 49 is equal to r squared, and so we do the square root. So radius is 7 when we work backwards so that we can find a radius. So now we can find surface area because we know the radius. So 4 times pi times 7 squared. And we can go ahead and type this into our calculator. 7 squared, which I already know is 49, times 4 times pi. So that is going to give me 615.8. 615.8 inches squared. All right, so for this last one, we're going to work backwards because we're given the surface area, and then we will figure out what the volume is. So working backwards, let's write out surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared. Now we know the surface area, so let's go ahead and plug in 144 pi is equal to 4 pi r squared, dividing by 4 pi. So 144 divided by 4 is 36, and that equals radius squared. So square rooting to get just the radius is 6. and that is, we'll just call it units. So if we're going to go ahead and find the volume, we're going to use our 4/3 pi r cubed formula that we used on the prior examples, and we are going to plug in 6 for our radius. So 4/3 pi times 6 cubed, and let's go ahead and pull up our 6 to cube it, and then times, and then pi, times, and then I'm going to do parentheses 4/3. All right. Oops, and it kept going on that one, so I've got to go back. Hold on. 6 to the 3rd, enter, there we go, times pi, enter, and then times, in parentheses, 4 divided by 3, 4/3. There we go. All right, so we're at 904.8. So there it is, 904.8. That is our volume. And so units cubed.